Radio J Clown.
Hello and welcome to Rambling with Barbara. You're listening to Radio J-Com, broadcasting on www.radiojcom.com and on YouTube. And as we speak, we're recording today's programme on the 23rd of January. This is our first programme of 2020. So welcome to my guest Diane Saunders, my first guest
of the decade.
2020, yes, for various reasons we couldn't broadcast, or personal reasons, if we haven't been well or somebody wasn't available, but we are here up and running now. Lovely to see you, and as I say, 2020, here we go.
And such a sunny day.
It's a beautiful day today. It's not even cold, actually.
No. Paradise in Leeds. That's what we've got.
Absolutely beautiful. Okay, Diane, start us off today, our first story of the decade.
Well, talking about Paradise in Leeds,
Go on then.
I have a story here that says, moving to London is not necessarily to climb the social ladder.
Right.
And it's quite a complicated tale because, as we all know, lots of people from the provinces went to London, great attraction of London, which is our capital city, and it's where the seat of government, the seat of arts and all sorts of things. But it's not now necessary to climb the social ladder. And I suppose it's not necessary because it's so unavailable. There's so many people.
Yes.
For those, young people who come from the provinces, they find it so hard to rent or to buy. And without the bank of mum and dad, some of them can't do it.
Bank of mum and dad is depressed, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
It has, if you haven't got family money. And it's really quite sad in a way. But it may push things out, and certainly some things are starting to be moved out.
I think with the advent of, shall we say, Harvey Nicks and shops like that, where you don't need to go to London to do your designer shopping. Everybody comes to Leeds, actually, Leeds, Manchester, anywhere up north, where the shopping is as good as. And not only that, unfortunately, these shops are declining because of online shopping as well.
They are.
You don't even need to go to the high street, do you?
I know, and Leeds, luckily for us, has got a thriving city centre.
Absolutely.
And for all sorts of reasons, we've got a lot of good small independent shops.
Yes.
Our wonderful arcades.
And it's all they're all together, not like, as I say, Manchester, which is really spread out, isn't it? Leeds is very compact.
It is. There's a lot to be said for it.
Lovely shops, lovely people.
This is very true. So our young
But just going on from what you were saying just then about coming up north, let's go on to the big story about maybe Parliament coming up north.
Well, yes, it's very interesting, isn't it? Whether the idea that the government have identified a piece of land not far from the railway station in York, God forbid they should walk too far, for the site of the House of Lords. And the truth is that the House of Commons is going to have to move out of that building anyway. It needs so much in repairs, it's dangerous, and they keep just patching it together. So at some point they're going to have to move out of there.
Is it going to be a house of cards and fall to bits?
Well, you wonder, don't you? But I do think that if they move out of there, they won't go back. They won't go back, and we'll have something that is more modern. Nothing wrong with the House of Commons, but if you go to other legislatures around the world where people sit in desks and they vote from their desks, so you don't have the eyes and the nose, maybe that's what we need, and maybe a move to the north is a good idea.
You're just saying people sit at desks. That would give the politicians more time to spare with their constituents, maybe.
Yes, yeah.
Instead of travelling.
I think that if the House of Lords, and why not the House of Commons, came to York, it would be much easier for all those northern Scottish and Midland people, representatives. And if the House of Lords don't like the idea, it's only 2-hour rail journey from London to York, and you won't be able to get the 3 o'clock out again.
I was just going to bring that up. That will be, a lot of them who are leave the taxi running outside just to sign in kind of thing. Yes, it could answer a lot of questions.
It could, you don't know.
I think the Lords, I think you would have more objections from the Lords than you would from the Commons.
Do you?
Because of that big, it would wake a lot of them up.
We need to get rid of some of them anyway.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I think the House of Lords should be scrapped in its current state. And I don't have
That's a big talk on its own, isn't it?
It is, but I do know what I'd replace it with. But I think that if we have another elected chamber, we'll have a fight between the two elected chambers, and we'll get the same standard that we have in the House of Commons, which is pretty poor.
Absolutely.
We need experts in the House of Lords.
We need us there.
Or somebody with expertise.
All these experts, in inverted commas, they have to answer to people. And when I say us, and not necessarily personally you and me, but I do mean you and me as well.
Of course.
But all of us, all the constituents, seem to have greater knowledge of things that are going around than the, elected people who seem to think they know best.
I agree. If you had a House of Lords that was filled with experts on medicine and law and architecture, and they only had 15-year stint, they weren't allowed longer than 15 years. So they could go there for 15 years, do something that was valuable, that was useful for the country, and then go again.
Are you talking about utopia?
I'm talking about how I'd have the House of Lords. If I were Queen of the country.
Well, we're all, yes, as I say.
Yeah.
We're all experts, aren't we?
We are.
Okay, so that started us off now. There are all sorts of things that have come into in the news, as we say at the moment. There's
it's dominated by two stories, isn't it? Yeah.
Brexit and Trump.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with Trump?
He's not going to be
impeached.
No, because whilst they were taking the oath to look at all the evidence independently, they were saying they're not going to impeach him. And it's a complicated situation. We don't know, but it seems to be going on partisan lines. But the thing about American politics, think about all politics, these people who decide what they're doing now will be judged by history.
Well,
so maybe not this year.
Yes.
Because in the 1950s, when McCarthy had his witch hunt, many of the senators and the Republicans and the Democrats rushed to ally themselves with him, and they had not a very good place in the historical world when looking back.
Yes, that was a very bad time.
I don't know
fronts.
I'm not sure that Trump is any less dangerous to the idea of democracy and good manners.
He seems to me to be like, as I was just saying before, you and me, like the ordinary person. He's doing what he thinks is best, not what his house considers.
I don't know. It does annoy me when I agree with him. I get very annoyed when I agree with Trump. I don't like that at all, but sometimes I think he's right.
But you see, this is what I'm talking about, the common people.
Precisely. Yes. Yeah, we can think he's right and we can think he's wrong as well.
Yeah.
I just think he's the rudest.
So would you think he was wrong as a matter of principle, or just because he is?
Well, I don't know. I think
some of his things.
It's about the message and the way the message is given, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not just a message, it's how it's delivered.
Well, also, just going on to messages, we'll come on to Megxit later, I think. His attitude towards Greta Thunberg, the teenager, who he is classing as the prophet of doom, who's going to be proved right?
Well, I think, history's shown that sometimes prophets of doom are correct.
Yeah.
On Monday's 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
Yes.
Today there's a big commemoration going on at Yad Vashem.
Yes.
And in the 1930s, when people were predicting doom with Hitler, many people were saying that's not true. It's all doom and gloom.
Well, they're still saying it's not true,
right.
the Holocaust, aren't they? So history sometimes doesn't... but yes, this weekend...
I think... what I think is, she's a really divisive character, is Greta.
I just wish she wouldn't scowl.
Oh, yes, she's very serious. There's no lightness about her.
Well,
but she has all sorts of issues. But maybe her message is right. The message is right. It's about the delivery again, isn't it?
Yes, it's... Yes. But the doom bit is written all over her face. So just as you were saying, agreeing with Trump on that issue. But her message.
Well, I don't agree
serious.
with him. I don't agree with him on that issue. I
No,
think he's wrong.
no.
I think he's wrong.
Yes.
Other issues I agree with him about, but not that one.
Yeah. Okay. What else have you got there? Anything light?
Yes, very light.
Okay.
In Australia,
Yes.
a French tennis player asked a ball girl to peel a banana for him.
Not a grape, a banana.
Yes. She brought him a banana, and he asked her to peel it. And I think she was a bit taken back. I don't think she.
No. She wasn't.
Right.
Just interrupting here. It was the umpire who was taken aback, and he ordered her to give it back to him.
Well, when the 21-year-old girl, this is from the eye, when the 21-year-old girl asked, when the 21-year-old asked the girl to peel the fruit, she appeared confused and looked up to the umpire, John Blom, who told him that she was not his slave.
Well done, umpire.
And no wonder who usually peels his bananas. I thought, how often do you get your banana peeled? Or maybe his hands were full.
Well, or maybe he didn't want to get what comes off a banana skin onto his racket or whatever. But then they've got all sorts of things that they can wash their hands.
I know.
I thought that story was quite funny.
Yeah,
actually.
it's very telling, isn't it?
Yes.
The message is, here's a bottle of water, can you just take the top off for me? Or is that asking, I don't know, it's got something to message you, but it doesn't give a good look, does it?
Have you got a to-do list?
Oh gosh, yes, I love my to-do list.
Yes.
Oh, you mean to do on a daily basis or to do in my life list? I love my lists. I love lists.
Yes.
I write lists all the time.
Okay.
I add, take off. There's nothing more satisfying than having done your list.
Oh, than ticking it off.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've got here a list of 25 things that all teenagers must put on their to-do list.
It's a lot of things.
And it's like the Duke Award scheme to build character kind of thing. So I wouldn't think that most teenagers have these on their list. I mean, their list must be, I don't know. Certainly not when we were teenagers. I'll pass that on to you, though. But there's certain things get work experience or a part-time job.
It's all a bit serious, isn't it?
It is very serious.
My
That's
list is things like ring so and so.
Oh no,
file
no,
that,
no,
do
no,
that.
No,
shopping list. Don't forget that.
Oh no, my shopping list I have to do, otherwise I'd come back with nothing or nothing I wanted. Shall I say? Yeah.
I mean, I think some of them are. Oh gosh, learn to cook, try vegetarianism. Or,
yeah.
I think if somebody gave me that list when I was 15 or 17 or 19, I'd tell them where to put it.
Well, this is my point.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
my point. And I don't think teenagers have changed since then,
no,
actually.
I'm sure they haven't.
Certain things, yes, or,
And some of those things will be on those kids' list anyway,
yes,
to travel
course.
and to learn to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Learn a foreign language, that's not a bad idea, actually.
None of them are bad ideas.
Yes,
Who wrote it? Who wrote the list?
Well, this is the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme.
All right.
That's why it's serious, you see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder who'll take it over when the Duke of Edinburgh is now. Well, it'll always be called the Duke of Edinburgh, won't it?
Oh, yes, it will.
Yeah, like the Victoria Cross will always be Victoria Cross.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Prince Edward's getting involved in that, I think.
Yes, I think you're right. Well, Sophie, his wife, is also coming up in the ranks as well. She'll take something on, won't she?
Well, there's fewer of them, so they've got to do more.
Yes, well, talk about coming up in the ranks. What about going down in the ranks? Come on, before we have a little break for music, let's talk about, which we must, the Duchess of Sussex, as she will be called, or is called.
Well, she is the Duchess of Sussex.
She
married the Duke.
Duchess of Sussex, yes. You don't think she wants to be Mrs. Windsor, or
it's hard to fathom what she wants, and it really. Now the story is off the front pages.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to say to you, page 10 and 11.
Yeah, I think it's actually becoming less relevant to any of us. We're not bothered. We've all moved on. Let them do it. I don't blame them for wanting to have a bit of a private life, but you can't have it all. You can't. You can't have the title and the uniform and pick and choose.
And she knew that when she went into this.
I'm sure she did. But whether it's different being there, but she didn't.
Yes, but I think she knew this beforehand. She must have had some teaching or whatever it is the same as Kate did. But
Yeah.
mind you, Kate had about 12 years
Yes.
experience beforehand.
And
didn't
Camilla
she?
had 20 years of being
Yeah,
vilified.
Well, she was. Well, no, she was actually born into the privilege,
Yes.
into a privileged
She
life.
certainly was.
But I think her from day one, this is only my opinion, not Jacob's opinion, my personal opinion, is that from day one she thought, well, it's Meghan and she can change it.
Mm.
And I think she's now found out that Meghan can't change it.
I tell you what, who has come out very well in this, the Queen,
Oh, brilliant.
hasn't she?
She does.
She played a blind, didn't she?
She did, didn't she? She does. And I think Kate is great.
I think
Kate, great Kate.
great
Catherine the Great.
Waiter Katie, they used to call her.
Well,
because
now
she was
she's
waiting.
Catherine the Great.
And they also have just, they've just shown, we want that, well, I can't say we. I'm very happy to have a royal family who is not a big royal family, but people to take those ceremonial roles and those roles that we need to have to publicise those good causes.
Don't you think, though, that the opposite is what we don't want? We don't.
Trump.
Well,
Head of state is an important, very, very important position in any country. And, you know, I can't think of anybody who would bring the country together. Maybe David Attenborough, but he's, 90-odd.
yeah, well, all the good folk are getting on, aren't they? Because,
Yes, we are.
as we say, we've just been talking about teenage. They haven't had enough time to work something out. And I think on that note, we'll have a little break and we'll have some music.
Every night I'm lying in bed, holding you close in my dreams, thinking about all the things that we said, coming apart at the seams. We try to talk it over, but the words come out too rough. I know you were trying to give me the best of your love. Beautiful faces in loud empty places. Look at the way that we live, wasting our time on cheap talk and wine. Left us so little to give. And that same old crowd was like a golden cloud we could never rise above. But here in my heart, I'll give you the best of my love. Oh, sweet darling, get the best of my, you get the best of my love. Oh, sweet darling, get the best of my, you get the best of my love. I'm going back in time and it's a sweet dream. It was a quiet night and I would be alright if I could go on sleeping. But every morning I wake up and worry, what's gonna happen today? You see it your way, I see it mine, but we both see it slipping away. You know we always had each other, baby. I guess that wasn't enough. Oh, but here in my heart, I give you the best of my love. Oh, sweet darling, you get the best of my love. Oh, best of my love. Oh, 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 sweet darling, you get the best of my love. Oh, 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 sweet darling, you get the best of my love, the best of my love. Every night and day, you get the best of my love, the best of my love.
Like the Eagles, that was
Yeah.
a nice piece of music.
It was.
Thank you, Noel, for that. Now then, take it to the limit. Going, past the limit, I suppose. Do you watch Dancing on Ice, or you don't watch much of that, do you? And Strictly?
Never
no.
seen Strictly.
Well, you've never seen Strictly. Okay,
But I do know how popular it is.
Yes, it's
I know people love it.
Extremely
They love
popular.
the dresses and the style.
Yeah,
and everything.
well, now then, they're making history because they've had their first same-sex routine on Dancing on Ice.
Okay.
I didn't see that, so I don't know how it went, but apparently it was well received. So what do you think about, and I know we were talking in the break about, there's always been dancing around the handbags and girls
Yeah.
dancing together in the old Judean days, or, the old Jubilee Hall days, etc. But this, like professional dancing, same sex, what do you think about
It's really
this?
interesting because until this conversation, I'd not thought about it. But you never, when we were at the Judean or the Mecca, and we were dancing around our handbags, you didn't see men dancing together.
No.
So
you've never seen.
Yeah, no. So it's really interesting, this whole idea that men would dance together, but why not?
Yes.
It's not something you're used to seeing. But I mean, I'm not. I personally don't mind who dances.
No. So that yes, you're
Yeah.
personally. No, I don't either. I would like to actually seen it to, given my opinion. But anyway,
I wonder what the reaction of the audience was.
I think it was well taken. That one. It said thank you to everyone at home who is accepting it. Was the professional skaters' response.
So it's Dancing on Ice like Strictly, where they have a professional and an amateur.
Yes.
So who is the?
Well, they're obviously, they are out. They are two men actually, not boys. The pop star is 43, and the other dancer is also. But they're two gay men, and they haven't had two women dancing together. I didn't see it because I was just wondering how the lifts went. Now, in
Yes.
dancing and especially in skating, they're lifted and they travel at great speed. So it must have been interesting.
Yes, you're right. That's what I thought.
Yes, how it went. So
Maybe you can get it on catch up.
yes, if they're still in, then they were obviously well voted for. So yeah. So your opinion is
I
no
don't-
problem.
I personally don't mind what anybody does, as long as they don't want me to do what I don't want to do. I don't have a problem.
That's a good get out.
But no, it's not a good get out. It's, if people want to marry, if a woman wants to marry a woman, or a man wants to marry a man, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have to marry a woman. So if they want to and they can, off they go.
Okay.
I don't see the offence, but then I see things. We all see things in different ways,
Yes,
don't we?
we do. Yes. Okay. What have you got?
Okay, so if anybody wants to get away from the rat race, there is a job going on Great Blasket Island, off the west coast of Ireland, and it's proving very attractive. It's a caretaker. The two caretakers who run the accommodation and coffee shop during the tourist season.
Oh, right.
And there is
So it's
no
a
television.
seasonal job.
It is. There's no television, no electricity, just no internet. But the attractions of the job are so great that 23,000 people have applied.
Okay. So one of the attractions is it salary?
Yep. Well, no, I don't know about the salary. It's 23,000 people have applied. Don't know what the salary is.
Right.
It runs from April to October,
Yes.
so it's not indefinite.
Yeah.
It involves running a cafe and 3 guest houses on the 6-kilometre long island, just off the coast of Kerry, and has no permanent residents.
Right, so if there's no electricity or anything, what do they do for power? Is it
That's what I wondered. How do they heat the kettle?
Yeah,
the coffee?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It would take a long time with a candle, wouldn't it?
No electricity or hot water. Well, maybe the cafe has nothing hot to drink.
Maybe.
Maybe they have a fire. Have a kettle over. I don't know.
Oh, right. That's something we've got to look into there.
He said, the guy, Billy O'Connor, who was advertising the Post.
That's an Irish name.
Yeah. He said, if the same number of people who had applied for the job booked to stay for one night on the islands, they would be fully booked for 30 years. Lovely thought.
So, all right, these 23,000 people.
Yeah.
Do these 23,000 people apply for other jobs as well?
Well, you wonder, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe they're just think, from April to October not to even know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
There's a certain attraction, isn't there?
If you like that kind of thing,
Yeah.
The isolation. Oh, maybe you're not isolated if different people are coming every day, aren't
That's
they?
true. That's very true.
Yeah.
You're not cut off, are you?
No. Less isolated than normal,
Yes.
I would think. Different people
And I suspect people will come and they will bring you up to date on any news you really need to know about.
Yeah. Okay, are your plastic notes, the new notes, are they still going strong?
I think so. My
The few that we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there are certain nearly 50 million plastic £5 and £10 notes worth £360 million are having to be recalled and replaced due to wear, tear and damage.
Oh.
So how about that? They said it's only a little over 2 years since they came.
Because I thought one of the reasons they changed them because they were more robust.
Exactly.
But I've started using cash this year. I've decided that I'm going to use cash.
You and me both.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
So I'm going from here. I'm going up to get some cash and go to Marks and Spencer's.
Yeah. Yes, me too. When they say cash or card, I go cash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's something about, and I do this for a living. I do this helping people to analyse what they spend, and it is quite remarkable how you can know so much from somebody's bank statements.
Yeah.
A £2 purchase, a £5 purchase. Yeah. You can see exactly where they're spending money, which is great if you want to analyse and change your spending habits.
Yeah.
But I think, gosh, do I want anybody to know that much about me?
That's right. Yes. I mean, your whole life is on that card, isn't it?
It certainly is.
And you can be traced to, if you go to Marks and Spencer, somebody will know where you are at that moment.
Time,
Yeah. It is, actually.
Good for alibis, though, Barbara. We need them for alibis. When we're accused of something awful.
Right. Well, the Bank of England apparently insisting that it's consistent with general wear and was expected.
Oh, well that's all right
come on. This isn't what they said. Not what they said to us at the beginning, is it?
No.
No.
But you get really nice notes out of the machine, don't you?
Really nice that you want to hang on to them, is that it? Okay. You got something else there, or shall I come up with
what's your next one?
Well, you don't watch television, or?
Well, I do watch television, but I tend to watch a lot of politics.
Yeah. But I mean,
and I love detectives.
Oh, I do.
I love detectives.
I watch nearly every.
And do you know what I saw the other day by chance? Perry Mason.
Oh gosh! You're going back a bit.
Oh my goodness! It was so good. It was so predictably good.
Yeah. This is
the courtroom scene was fabulous.
Well, the new Midsummer Murders has started again.
Yes.
Yes. I watched that the other night. But just apart from the television, the cinema is thriving now.
Quite right too.
I've been to the cinema quite a few times in the last few months. Have you?
I have. Well, I went with my daughter, one of my daughters and one of my sisters, and went to see Little Women at The View. And, The View is only a £5.
Yeah.
It's a £5. Well, for 2 hours pleasure, you can't think of much.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you can wait for them to come out, and it's like 5 minutes and they're on your television anyway. But there's something about watching it on a big screen.
Isn't there? There's something about the surround sound.
Yeah.
And where we went, of course, the reclining seats and, other
absolutely.
cinemas are available, obviously.
And people come with a meal and everything.
Yeah. It's just that wonderful feeling of being lost in a film that you don't get on the television.
No, absolutely.
I don't think you can be lost in a film the same way.
No.
at
No,
home.
because you've got to make your own cup of tea.
Yeah, although I have to say that I recorded quite a few over Christmas, quite a few films.
Yeah.
And last Friday I was having a very nothing day,
Right.
and I watched the Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh, gosh, which one?
Oh, the original.
The original.
And gosh, wasn't he handsome?
Yes.
Absolutely gorgeous, and she was fabulous and clothes were
Absolutely,
and it was such a good film
Yeah, the second one wasn't bad either, you know.
with Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan,
But I
yeah.
think it's just something
and
about
Renee Russo.
Yeah, but I just think something about Steve McQueen, and
Oh,
he died when he was 50. He is the true hero, isn't he?
Yes, yes.
The heroic
so-
story.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you say, the cinema is thriving. So
Good.
Good for the cinema. And I think for us to thrive a little bit longer, we're going to have another break with some more music. Thank you very much indeed. We're going back in time, but coming forward a bit, I have in front of me the new spring programme for Millim.
Yep.
Of course, with Diane we have Millim and some very, very interesting talks and people who are going to talk here from March, right?
No, it's through March. This is through March, yeah.
Right.
We have 10 events this year.
Yeah.
And they cover everything from quite weighty, quite academic, to quite not academic, quite not weighty. In fact, Helen Taylor, who is the first event, her book, Why Women Read Fiction, has become quite a bestseller, and she was serialised on Radio 4 last week.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's a very interesting story about why women read fiction.
So where can people pick this programme up from? Are you going in various places? And the website?
We are distributing it in all the usual places.
Yeah.
The website is www.milim.org.uk.
Right, good read.
Good. Yeah, and we hope there's something for everybody.
Yes.
We're already getting the event that is one of the highlights is the Leeds United 100th.
Right, yes.
We're already getting bookings for that, but we don't know if they keep slipping down the table. We don't quite know what's going to happen by March.
Right, well, if people want to get to any of these, then do
on the
it
website.
Quickly, yes.
Yeah, on the website.
Because they get snapped up very
They do,
quickly, and
they do.
They're very limited numbers, aren't they?
Well, we have venues. Leeds United one is at G-South.
Right.
Teaming with them, who are so wonderful.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, but we've got Seven Arts, and we have different places. UHC,
David Lloyd, I can see the Math Centre.
Yeah.
Playhouse. They're
Yes,
all over.
all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried to get decent parking. No, we can't say that at the Mass, but yeah, we do.
Okay, right. Recommended there. So, what else have you got there?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the BBC.
Yes.
Because I really like the BBC. And I suspect that's because I'm the age I am, and because I spent my life listening to the BBC. I love the radio. It's a constant companion, and I have learnt so much. I think the BBC and Radio 4 especially provides so much knowledge, entertainment, and gosh, didn't know that.
Something for everybody there.
I think
like
so.
Milim, there's something there for everybody.
I think so. But apparently, you get to listen to Radio 4 when you're about 40. And I know in our family, one of my nephews said, I'm listening to Radio 4, must be getting old. So I think that's what happens. Yeah. As people's lives calm down a bit and you're a bit more interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
But there's a job going, and I'm seriously thinking about going for it. The Director General of the BBC, and it must be a terrible job, because they've got the massive licence fee debate to have, and how they can fund the BBC, and why should everybody pay for the BBC? And I think it's a good question. Why should everybody pay?
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
Yes.
I pay, and I would pay more. I love the BBC, so I'm happy to pay for it. People pay for Netflix, but if they don't watch the BBC, why would they pay?
Yeah, exactly.
And I have friends who don't pay because they don't watch the BBC as much as they watch other things, and they'll watch on catch-up.
Yeah. But this big debate now with the television licence for the over 75s, which was sprung on people, wasn't it? Although they say that it wasn't a permanent thing. So
Gordon Brown brought it in.
Yes.
And never permanent, are they, unless the taxes. And it is a tax, I suppose. The BBC licence fee is a tax.
Yeah.
And the fact that people go to prison for not paying it, I think, is appalling. So there's lots and lots of things to talk about, but great champion of the BBC.
So are you going in for the job then?
Well, probably not.
You
not
think
with
you'll be
shortlisted?
shortlisted?
I doubt it. I think it must be one hell of a job.
Yes.
So you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, quite frightening.
I've got a few things now about food and drink.
Go on. Yeah.
Okay, a coffee cup that's edible.
Ooh,
so when you've drunk your coffee, you then eat the coffee cup because it's like a biscuit.
A clever idea.
Isn't that clever?
Do they do it gluten-free?
So it might not look particularly appetising, but this coffee cup was made to be eaten. It's an airline is tackling this by testing it. A biscotti type.
What a clever idea.
Isn't it just? So once you've had that, there's no rubbish or anything, is there?
So do you nibble the cup as you drink the coffee?
No, I think. Well, you could do,
but
you've got to leave.
Is it like an ice cream cone? You nibble the outside.
Yes,
as you
I
drink.
would think so. But this is a New Zealand Air New Zealand are testing it. I'll be interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, but I can see how that would work, can't you? I mean, apart from the fact it would have to be robust enough to take the heat.
Yeah.
But you could see how you could have it.
Well, biscotti is very hard.
It is, but you could see how you could eat it while drinking, a bit like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Lovely idea.
I agree,
sticking on, sort of food, but Coca-Cola are refusing to ditch their single-use plastic, which we're going now back to the environment, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now millions and millions and millions of Coca-Cola bottles must be around and are being fished out of the oceans. So there's a big argument going on there, isn't there? What do you think about that?
I feel
it's the world's biggest plastic polluter.
Yeah. I feel conflicted because I use plastic bottles. I buy water in plastic bottles, and I do have a real conflict about this.
Mm-hmm.
I should buy water in bottles.
And
then we should give them back. Do you remember when we used to have the lemonade man?
Money.
The lemonade man used to Glicks.
Used to come,
and they used to take the bottles and reuse them.
Yeah.
But now you can't reuse anything.
Well, there we are. So they're arguing that's.
I'll tell you what about the caps of bottles. A friend of mine collects the caps of bottles and gives them to a local school because they use the caps for putting paint in and gluing for the kids.
Right.
So rather than the kids having a big pot of paint or glue on the desk, and I think that's a really good idea.
People come up with these ideas.
Brilliant, and that's happening in Leeds. So that's a good idea.
Yes, absolutely. And just a little bit on the and part food and part royal family as well. What do you think about Peter Phillips and his advert for milk, using his family name? But having said that, they're saying now that this is now being brought up in the in our national press. But he's been doing this for years.
Has he?
Without advertising it here. Yes, advertising it in China.
Oh, right. And do they know who he is in China?
Well,
what's he called in China?
British royal family member Peter Phillips.
Is that how they say British?
Well, that's apparently the translation of the Chinese writing. We can see, listeners.
Well, that is actually true. He is a member of the British royal family.
Yes. But he's not advertising it here. He's advertising it there.
Are you bothered, Barbara?
Am I bothered?
Are you bothered?
Am I bothered?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
Nor me.
Okay.
Nor me.
So, what have you got quickly now? Because we are coming to the end of the programme.
Oh, about smart bees not taken in by sugary treats.
Oh, go on then.
You won't know this, and I didn't before I read it. When it comes to nectar, sweeter is not necessarily better. Too much sugar slows bees down, takes up more of their energy.
Oh.
So bumblebees drink nectar from flowers, then regurgitate it into their nest for the rest of the colony. The more sugar within the nectar, the more energy it contains. However, it also gets thicker and stickier as the sugar content increases. This makes it more difficult for bees to drink and regurgitate, taking more time and energy.
Right, and that would affect the honey.
So clever bees don't go for the stickier, they go for the less sticky. And I thought, well, that's an analogy for the rest of us. We shouldn't have too much sugar that's sticky.
And for the environment as well. The bees should talk to Trump.
I'm sure he'd take a lot of notice of them.
How are we doing for time, Mr. Producer? 1 minute. Well, I think we've come to the end of the programme. Thank you so much for coming in, Diane. And that's the first programme for 2020. And we've still got pieces of paper on the table. Sorry for all that rustling, folks. Thanks again for coming in. You've been listening to Rambling with Barbara on Radio JCOM. The programme today was produced by Noel Sumroy and presented by me, Barbara Cline. Hope you enjoyed all our discussions and will join us again soon.
This is your Leeds Jewish station, Radio JCOM. This is your Leeds Jewish...